Hi, my name's Mike Kaleza. I'm from Rockland County, New York. And I don't usually do this YouTube thing, but today is an exception. I'm usually on the other end watching your videos. But bear with me, my webcam's a little sketchy. The audio in the video might be a little weird. Just turn it up, stick with me. I just want to tell you about my experience voting yesterday. It was, of course, Super Tuesday, and I was voting for my candidate, Ron Paul. So, to my surprise, he was missing from the ballot at my local designated voting place. So I want to tell you a little bit about that. It's cause for concern for all of us, whether you're a Ron Paul supporter or not. I want to give you a little play-by-play. I went to my voting place in Stony Point, New York, 6 Lee Avenue at the Stony Point Ambulance Corps. And I noticed the sample ballot on the wall, and Ron Paul's name was at the top of the list on the Republican side. Okay, no problem there. So I walk over, I sign my name at the Republican table, walk into the voting booth, close the curtain, and I look for Ron Paul. Not there. Okay, I look over by the Democrats, look to the left, up and down. There's John Edwards. Weird. He dropped out. Okay. Look over by the Republicans again. Rudy Giuliani there. Okay. He dropped out too. No Ron Paul. So I stand there for like 5 minutes, scratch my head. Don't see Ron Paul. At first, just think I'm blind, don't see it. So some time goes by, I open up the curtain, I walk out, I say, "Where's Ron Paul? He's not on the ballot." They look at me at first, almost mystified, by, like, as if to say, "You're voting for Ron Paul?" And their reply to me was, "Oh, he must have dropped out." I say, "He didn't drop out, there's no way he dropped out." They say, "Oh, well, if he's not on the ballot, he dropped out." I don't think so. So at this point, I just start, throwing figures out at them. I say, last quarter the guy raised $20 million, more than any other Republican candidate, $6 million in a single day, breaking records left and right, amazing grassroots support. I mean, the guy's not going anywhere yet. So, at this point, they're still telling me that he must have dropped out. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe he did drop out. Maybe he dropped out. I don't know. Did he drop out? No, there's no way. So, finally, after causing quite a stir, and there was a Democrat behind me, a lady who was just as equally amazed and frustrated as I was. She didn't even know who Ron Paul was, but she was furious that there was a candidate actually missing from the ballot. And this was at 7 o'clock at night, 2 hours before the polls closed, and the entire day went by, and they thought, "Oh, he dropped out." Okay. So, at this point, I finally insist that they call the Board of Elections, because I know he didn't drop out. It didn't happen. So they inspect the machine, and indeed, he's not on the ballot, just like I told them. So they call the Board of Elections, the Rockland County Board of Elections. And I hear him talking, he's telling them, "Oh, we inspected the machine this morning, but we didn't notice. We thought he dropped out." Okay, so they give me an affidavit, I fill it out, it's a write-in ballot. He says to me, "Don't worry, we'll count your vote." I'm not worried about my one vote being counted right now. I'm worried about the hours that have passed since the morning until right now, 2 hours prior to the polls closing, that have gone by, and you've been telling people that Ron Paul dropped out, and he hasn't even been on the ballot. He's not even in the voting machine. Unbelievable. So I walk out of there pretty frustrated, and I give the New York City headquarters a call, the campaign headquarters, call the Journal News. The city headquarters had they were also frustrated. They said that things like this have been going on all day, where the polling officials have been telling people that Ron Paul dropped out of the race. There's actually an article in the Daily News on their website. You could check it out. I think the gentleman's name is Steve Miller. He was a Ron Paul polling captain, or a captain for the precinct there, and he was monitoring the polls, and this incident actually happened as well in front of him, and he also gave an eyewitness account and said that the polling officials were telling people, one lady in particular, that Ron Paul dropped out of the race. So apparently this is like an epidemic. So that's on there. I'll put a link up there on the YouTube on the sidebar there for that article later. You can check it out. I spoke to the Journal News, a local newspaper here, news station here, local news station. Journal News got back to me later that night. They spoke to the Board of Elections. They confirmed that he was not on the ballot, and they offered the excuse that they put a piece of paper over an unnamed Republican who had dropped out, and that piece of paper fell over Ron Paul's name. That's weird, because Ron Paul was the first candidate on the list. There was no other candidate above him, so how would that piece of paper have fallen over his name? The journalist then asks me, are you satisfied with their answer? No, of course not. So she also expressed her discontent with what they had to say and assured me that this article would print in the Journal News. So as soon as that goes up, I'll put that up as well. But, you know, this is a cause for concern for all of us, whether you're a Ron Paul supporter or not. And between the media blackout on Congressman Ron Paul and the situation here and others around the country, no doubt, it's certainly testing my faith in the American democratic process. And things like this only serve to undermine democracy, and the Republican base and the media should realize by doing this, they're only turning one humble Texas congressman's message into a crusade, a revolution. And, you know, the Constitution really, it's unfortunate to say today that turning to the Constitution is a revolutionary concept. The Constitution, rather, it was revolutionary in its inception, but it shouldn't be today. It shouldn't be revolutionary today, and we should be sticking to it. I'm not going to go on and on about why you should vote for Ron Paul, but this is a cause for concern for independents, for Republicans, for Democrats, for Libertarians. This is America. This is democracy. Our vote should matter, and we shouldn't have to worry about whether our candidate is going to be on the ballot. You know, I shouldn't have had to worry about getting to my polling place early enough to check to see if my candidate's on there, and to check to see if those polling officials know that my candidate has not dropped out of the race. You know, it's unbelievable. But I'll continue to keep you updated. I know that at this point, I'm sure the campaign headquarters are exploring options for legal recourse. I'll keep you updated. Get in touch with the Rockland County Board of Elections. I'll put up information, contact information, how to get in touch with them. Like I said, we should all be concerned. We should all care about something like this. And, you know, Ron Paul's still in it to win it. So the revolution continues.